United States Supreme Court recently refused to take up 5 cases from different states where state law banned same-sex marriage. And whereas Florida was not directly affected in that decision, many think that the state law that does ban same-sex marriage in Florida will be affected, and eventually there will be a trend that will reverse that law. What do you think?
Kind of have to unwind this a little bit.
Yeah, unwind it.
A federal judge in Tallahassee, and I believe it was in August, he ruled that Florida's ban on same-sex marriage was unconstitutional. Voters passed that ban in 2008. ACLU and some other representing a series of plaintiffs. There's another case out of Jacksonville that were combined. The judge basically said that this ban is unconstitutional. But he put a stay on that order. Basically, he wanted to allow an appeal, an appeal by the state and other supporters of same-sex marriage to go forward. His position was, we don't want to start allowing same-sex marriage, then have an appeal overturn my decision, and then have to stop same-sex marriage. Basically, he indicated, we'll put a stay on this until the appeals play out, but as of right now, my ruling is that same-sex marriage is unconstitutional. Fast forward a little bit to the Supreme Court. There's been these cases popping up all over the country, and almost uniformly, courts have been ruling that these state bans on same-sex marriage are unconstitutional. So there were 5 cases that went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and last week, the U.S. Supreme Court said they weren't going to hear those cases.
And the effect of them not hearing it is basically to say those bans are unconstitutional.
That's correct. They essentially upheld, they didn't literally uphold, but they allowed the lower court rulings to take effect, and those lower court rulings were that the bans were unconstitutional. The thinking is that if the Supreme Court had wanted to weigh in on this issue, if they had wanted, the justices had wanted to overturn those lower court decisions, they would have done it. They had their opportunity. So Florida is sitting here with a federal judge's ruling that the ban is unconstitutional, and the thinking is that the U.S. Supreme Court wouldn't take that up either, and that would be what would be in place. Immediately after the Supreme Court made this decision, the ACLU and other plaintiffs' attorneys came into the Tallahassee court, or filed in the Tallahassee court, a motion to lift the stay. Essentially, again, asking that the Supreme Court has done what it's done. It isn't going to change, and same-sex marriage should be allowed to go forward in Florida. As we sit here today, the judge, who's U.S. District Judge Robert Hinkle, has not acted on that motion. But there's a lot of thought that that same-sex marriage will be allowed to go forward in Florida as a result of this.
What is Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi doing now? She's been active in the courts in this area.
Her position all along has been that she is going to defend the constitutional amendment that voters passed, which bans same-sex marriage. So she is still in that posture, at least as far as we know, to continue defending the law. Presumably she will fight lifting the stay and hope that the appeals go forward. This has also become a political issue in this political season. She has taken a lot of fire from Democrats over her continued defense of the ban, and her opponent George Sheldon, Democrat, has repeatedly called for her to drop it and allow same-sex marriage to go forward. She has not taken that position. It's also become an issue in the governor's race. Governor Scott has repeatedly said he believes in traditional marriage, but he's also added the caveat: whatever the courts decide, we'll carry out. Charlie Crist, on the other hand, has said that he supports eliminating the ban and allowing same-sex marriage to go forward. So it's become a political issue as well as in the courts.
Thank you, Jim. For more news about Florida politics and government, visit the Advances section of our website.